Hello and welcome to Standard Voice Television Global News. Today, 4th April 2026, equivalent to Islamic calendar, 16th Shawwal, 1447 after the Hijrah of the Noble Prophet. In the headlines, President Tinubu enjoins citizens to support fight against forces threatening Nigeria's unity. INEC commences nationwide voter register validation April 13. Troops of the Joint Military Task Force kill 3 terrorists and arrest arsonists in PLATEAU. And on the international scene, U.S. fighter jets shut down over Iran amid escalating Middle East conflict. And on sport update, Ronaldo expresses pleasure after Al Nassr beats Al Najma 5-2 in Saudi Pro League. Details of these and more will be coming to you in the news bulletin. I am Sumaya Mustafa. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has asserted that there can be no economic progress where fear thrives amid scary security situation in parts of Nigeria. Tinubu, in an Easter message, recalled his efforts to surmount the scourge of insecurity and enjoined Nigerians to continue to give support to his administration's effort to confront all forces that threaten our collective well-being. The president, while commenting on his economic reforms, acknowledged the pains, but appealed to citizens to sustain their individual sacrifices. He, however, expressed optimism that his policies would lead the nation to shared prosperity, noting that Christians in Nigeria and around the world, the Easter season reminds them of the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus Christ and the redemptive power of salvation for humanity. Moving on, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the First Lady Oluremi and some prominent Nigerians have sent a message of unity and peace to citizens during Easter celebration. Tinubu also disclosed that Nigeria is getting support from foreign partners to tackle terrorism and banditry, and calling on citizens to remain hopeful and united amid persistent security challenges. The Nigerian leader made this known in his 2026 Easter message released on Good Friday, acknowledging that while significant efforts have been made, insecurity remains a concern across parts of the country. In a similar message, the First Lady urged Nigerians to extend compassion to vulnerable members of society, stressing that Easter symbolizes sacrifice, love, and hope. On his part, the Emir of Ilorin, Ibrahim Sulu Gambari, who congratulated Christians, described Easter as a reminder of sacrifice, forgiveness, and hope. Also, the Anglican Bishop of Kwara Diocese, Kwara State, Sunday Adeole, advised Christians to embrace forgiveness as a cornerstone of peaceful coexistence. The Kaduna State government has formalized collaborations with an engineering company aimed at strengthening electricity supply and expanding infrastructure across the state. Commissioner for Information Ahmed Miyaki made the details of the agreement known in a statement, noted that the deal was concluded during the Kaduna Electric Franchise Energy Summit held in London. He added that Governor Obasani will commit about 15 billion naira in exchanges for equity stake in the firm, which effectively translates to a 4.13% indirect holding in Kaduna Electric. The statement described the move as part of a wider economic strategy focused on industrial growth, investment inflow, and improved living standards, with stable electricity supply identified as a key driver. Governor Sani, during the event, also engaged with fellow governors from Zamfara and Kebbi states as discussions centered on regional cooperation and scalable energy solutions. Still in the news, Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara has been honored with the Outstanding Governor of the Year for impactful leadership and service delivery. The governor's spokesperson, Suleiman Bala Idris, who disclosed this in a statement, noted that the awards honored public and private sector leaders whose leadership impacts governance and service delivery. The statement confirmed that Governor Dauda Lawal received the 2026 Face of Africa Leadership Award for Outstanding Governor of the Year on Friday in London. He said the lecture, themed Harnessing the Roles of Nigerians in Diaspora for National Development, brought together stakeholders from both the public and private sectors. The award is in line with the state government's innovative approach to indirectly curbing insecurity through educational advancement, demonstrated by the declaration of a state of emergency in the educational sector. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) is set to begin a nationwide revalidation of a register of voters intended at removing ineligible entries and reinforcing the integrity of Nigeria's electoral process. INEC, in a public notice issued via its official X handle, explained that the exercise will target the removal of null and ineligible voters, such as deceased, non-Nigerians, underage, and multiple registrations in line with legal provisions. The notice added that the exercise is not a fresh registration but is specifically for voters who registered between 2011 and 2024, noting that the revalidation exercise will be conducted both online and at designated physical centers across the country. INEC outlined a phased timetable for the exercise beginning from April 13 to May 29, 2026 across local government areas, registration areas, and polling units. It added that the daily exercise is scheduled to run from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., including weekends and public holidays, while the online participation, voters can visit INEC portal to create an account and provide their voter identification number or personal details for biometric verification. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, has declared that the internal crisis storm rocking the People's Democratic Party (PDP) is over, announcing an open-door policy for former members seeking a return. Wike, a chieftain of PDP during a media parley in Abuja, likened politics to a game of football rather than a fight to finish, and also urged aggrieved politicians to set aside personal differences for the sake of the party's progress. The former Rivers State governor, while addressing the fallout from the party's recent national convention, said the time for internal bickering had passed, stressing that the party was now focused on reconciliation and rebuilding its ranks. The minister also disclosed that several members who had previously dumped the PDP had already signaled their intention to return, noting that the political environment was becoming increasingly acceptable for those ready to do the work. Wike also took a swipe at the do-or-die mentality often associated with Nigerian politics, suggesting that such an approach made reconciliation impossible. Moving on, the Labour Party (LP) has officially notified the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) of its plan for the 2026 elective congresses and national convention on April 28 in Abia State. Senior Special Advisor on Media to the interim national chairman, Ken Osogwa, disclosed this in a statement issued in Abuja. The party, in a letter dated March 31, 2026, and addressed to the INEC chairman, outlined a comprehensive timetable for its ward, local government area, and state congresses, culminating in the national convention where new national executives are expected to emerge. According to the timetable, ward congresses will be held on April 23 across all wards nationwide, followed by local government congresses on April 24 and state congresses on April 25 in all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory (FCT). In another development, INEC chairman Joash Amupitan has warned the African Democratic Congress (ADC) against conducting its scheduled congresses and national convention without the commission's supervision. The news is coming to you on Standard Voice Television Global News. Still to come in the news. Troops of the Joint Military Task Force killed 3 terrorists and arrest arsonists in Plateau. And on the international scene, U.S. fighter jets shot down over Iran amid escalating Middle East conflict. And on sport update, Ronaldo expresses pleasure after Al Nassr beats Al Najma 5-2 in Saudi Pro League. Details of these and more will come to you in the news after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back from that short break, and now the news continues. Troops of the Joint Military Task Force in Plateau State, Operation Enduring Peace, have killed 3 terrorists and arrested 2 individuals attempting to burn residential buildings in the state. The Media Information Officer of the task force, Captain Chinoso Ote, who disclosed this in a statement, said troops arrested 2 persons masquerading as security operatives while participating in arson and violence. He added that the suspects, dressed in tactical black uniforms, are currently in custody, while 2 persons with gunshot wounds are receiving medical attention. Ote said the troops in another operation in Karem, Wase local government area, disrupted a large-scale movement of terrorists, killing 3 insurgents, noting that the success followed the strategic deployment of specialized counter-terrorism troops, bolstering the state's security architecture. The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has ordered workers in states not fully implemented the 2024 National Minimum Wage Act to observe May Day 2026 on the streets, suspending all indoor or official celebrations. NLC General Secretary Emmanuel Ogboja, in a statement, condemned some state governments for violating the 2027 National Minimum Wage Act by refusing to implement key provisions, including consequential adjustments for senior workers, regular and timely payment of the new wage, and the extension of coverage to local government staff, primary school teachers and health workers. The Labour, however, is urging both reflection on the state of workers' rights and a celebration of collective efforts in continuously building the wealth of nations, adding that such violations constitute not only a breach of the law but an assault on the dignity of Nigerian workers. It will be recalled that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed Nigeria's new minimum wage bill into law on July 29, 2024, raising it from 30,000 to 70,000 naira. The Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Universities, SANU, has demanded a 100% salary increase, citing deteriorating economic situations and rising cost of living since the last salary review. National Vice President of the Union, Abdul-Subur Olayuola, in an interview disclosed that their demand was presented during a meeting with the federal government. In negotiation committee, he explained that the meeting followed an earlier communique issued by the union and signed by its national president, Mohammed Ibrahim, which gave the federal government a 30-day ultimatum from April 1 to April 30, 2026, to conclude the renegotiation process and sign an agreement. The federal government during the meeting presented an offer described by the union as unacceptable and inconsistent with the objectives of the renegotiation process. The association, however, rejected the offer and requested a review while consulting internally on possible adjustment, which led to the adjournment of the meeting for 1 week. Moving on, a U.S. fighter jet has been shot down over Iranian territory, marking the first confirmed loss of the U.S. jet to Iranian air defenses since the escalating of the ongoing conflict. According to American officials, CNN and Iranian state media reports confirmed that the aircraft was intercepted and destroyed by the country's air defense systems. The jet, widely identified in reports and circulating images as an F-15E Strike Eagle, reportedly crashed in or around Khuzestan province in southwestern Iran, approximately 470 kilometers from the capital Tehran. Footage geolocated near a bridge over a Karun River showed low-altitude military aircraft movements believed to be part of search and rescue or support operations in the aftermath of the incident. U.S. forces are said to have initiated a combat search and rescue mission involving aircraft and helicopters to locate the crew, believed to consist of 2 pilots. Iranian state media, including Fars News and Tasnim News Agency, reported that initial attempts to locate any ejected personnel had not yielded results. And lastly, on sport news, Cristiano Ronaldo has expressed pleasure after Al Nassr defeated Al Najma 5-2 in the Saudi Pro League SPL encounter. The Al Nassr captain returned from injury to score 2 goals against the visitors at Al Lawal Park, Riyadh. It was gathered that a brace each from the Portugal forward and Sadio Mane and a goal from Al Hamdan gave Al Nassr all 3 points against Al Najma. Ronaldo, while reacting after the game, took to his X account to post a photo of himself and his teammates celebrating. Al Nassr will now face Al Aqdoud in their next fixture on Saturday. They currently sit at the top of the Saudi Pro League table with 70 points from 27 matches. Finally, on the news, here's a recap of the top stories again. President Tinubu enjoined citizens to support fight against forces threatening Nigeria's unity. INEC commences nationwide voter register revalidation April 13. Troops of the Joint Military Task Force killed 3 terrorists and arrest arsonists in PLATEAU. And on the international scene, U.S. fighter jets shut down over Iran amid escalating Middle East conflict. And on sport update, Ronaldo expresses pleasure after Al Nassr beats Al Najma 5-2 in Saudi Pro League. And that's the size of the news on Standard Voice Television Global News. Our next news bulletin comes up to you later. On behalf of the news editor Iliya Demuauta and the production crew, I am Sumaya Mustafa, thanking you and bye for now.